Hello, community. Donna Schmid here with Eyes Wide Open. Tonight's podcast features shamanic astrologist Erik Roth and our guest, Gail Ann Gordon Carter. He's going to read Gail's astrology report, I think, if I get it right. And I'm going to pipe in with some channeled messages to help her along. I hope you enjoy the show. It was quite fun to produce. Gail was an excellent guest, and she had some really interesting questions that I think a lot of you may or may not relate to. So it's fun. Stay tuned, watch it to the end, and please, so that I don't have to do this all the time, like, share, and subscribe, because you have no idea how hard it is to do this one little tiny little dinky little segment that I have to do each week. It's a mess. All right. Love you guys. Hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye. Great. Welcome, everyone. Erik, we're here with Gail today, and you're going to be doing her shamanic astrological chart. And so I'm ready anytime you are.
Well, great. So for those that are first time listening to this, what I'm going to be doing here is just sharing a little bit about Gail's chart and some of the timings that may be going on. And shamanic astrology is a more holistic system of astrology, and it's not about the good or bad, but more about the light and shadow and the planets as guides and teachers in our lives, among other major things. But those are some of the bullet points there. And I can do, and Donna, I'm happy if you want. I was thinking about it last time, but this time I'm happy to share my screen if you want me to.
Okay.
We can do that. I can share the chart.
Oh, great idea. The great idea.
Yeah.
For those that are a little more in tune with that, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
So do you know how to give permissions?
Yeah. I'm just not as well versed as, let's see. I'll just do multiple participants. Sound good?
Sure. That
Okay.
works.
We'll see if and then if your screen.
Oh, yep, I can share it. Okay, good.
Okay.
So, all right, let's actually hang on. Let me just bring up her chart. There we go. Okay, so Gail, Donna, can you see this screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So Gail, have you had an astrology reading before?
Many, many years ago.
Okay. And so let me ask you this: what prompted you, or just to desire to be on here as a guest today on the podcast for the chart reading?
Right now, I feel like I've been going through a great deal of growth, spiritual growth. I practice various healing technologies, modalities, and they seem to be getting stronger. So I wanted to know more about that. I definitely have a desire to continue to get stronger in that area. Starting to work with people more. I just feel like for me to be a healer of sorts, it runs through my blood. I just wanted to see what astrology had to say about that.
Yeah, I mean the chart, just on a basic level, is a reflection of our kind of our soul's journey in this lifetime. And based on what you just shared, the chart does reflect that very strongly, that not only did you have that as what we call kind of a soul lineage of being able to be a healer, being able to be someone who helped others in the world, but you also have it very strongly in this lifetime as well, and potentially even future lifetimes. Like is sort of written into the sort of the code of the chart. And there's a couple of signifiers, things that really stand out in major ways for you and your desire for this. So I'm also going to look at, during the time that we have, a little bit about the timings that that are going on for you and how things are unfolding. But number one, we look at the lunar nodes, these two horseshoe-shaped symbols, glyphs, and what they represent is our karmic past and our future and higher self. That if there's one part of the chart that really kind of hones in on one's soul, it's the lunar nodes, but also the moon plays a significant role in that regard too, just by itself. But so if I'm looking at your chart here and I'm seeing, for example, this symbol right here, it's a green key-like symbol. That's Chiron, the shamanic centaur healer, mythologically. And it's really strong in your chart. It's conjunct one of the nodes here, and it's opposite the opposite node. So this is the north node because it's the loop is upward, and this is the south node, and that's because the loop is downward. And so Chiron plays a very significant role. So it says, like, you over lifetimes have probably had to work with very strongly like soul wounds, fracture points within yourself, and carrying them from lifetime to lifetime, different ones, not necessarily the same one over and over again. But it shows like where the fracture is very strongly in the area of what we call kind of the spiritual quest, the journey, the seeking, but to some degree also in communication and networking as well. And the fact that you've got this, what we call a T-square in astrology, you've got Chiron up here, you've got the planet Uranus down here, and then you've got another outer planet, Neptune, and Mars plays a role too, but Neptune right here. All of those are weaved into the lunar nodes. And this is really the kind of thing, so you, like, when I say healer, I don't mean necessarily just something conventional mainstream, say like a medical professional, like a registered nurse, or maybe a medical doctor, or something along those lines, but more like something, different kinds of modalities like Reiki or Akashic records, or psychic work, or even astrology, or other kinds of energy work. That's the kind of thing, especially when I see Uranus and Neptune, it's like it shows up. It's like, well, your generation around the energies and working with that is meant to be way outside the mainstream. That means you're drawn toward that, or you're feeling like that could be the area for you, when it's reflected pretty strongly here. And so the more that you go into that as part of your life path, it isn't the only thing, but as part of your life path, I would, it's totally supported by what the astrology shares right here.
Okay.
Does that feel like it resonates with you?
Yes, it does. I know a channel told me that I was also supposed to channel. I mean, I do the Akashic records. I know that is a type of channeling. I just wondered if that shows up at all.
Well, specifically around channeling, I've encountered a lot of over the years practitioners, or those that are not necessarily practicing like as a professional channeler, but they just kind of naturally pick up on things like that. I found that the planets that in question, the ones I've just shared, are typically strongly involved in some form or another in a person's life. Sometimes it could be with Pluto, because Pluto reaches into the very depths of the soul. Like, it really we can really dive in to some degree like Chiron, but it's even more energetic in its active. There's a stronger active force with Pluto than in comparison to Chiron. So
Okay.
yeah, I would say that it's definitely reflected there, especially when it comes to the communication bit. Like that house, this third house of communication, that means that what you bring in and connect into, there's this, and we could bring in the ninth house too, this polarity around being able to share that with others, being able to share the truth, um, the meaning of things, and to bring it into people's lives. That's so anything that kind of comes into that, from that sort of that cosmic sphere into our hard reality here, that's where you can thrive in, or at least there is an intent for you to share that, whether you do it for like as a profession or not. It's not necessarily that it's needed to do it that way, but you can. And
Okay.
so this is supported here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed
Go ahead.
I noticed there's a sort of a triangle that points off to this sign that looks like I don't know what I don't know what the sides are, but it points in that direction. And I'm just
Over here.
yeah. What does that signify?
Well, this is representing well, so I was pointing out what is called the T-square. So I was doing it like this, up and down like that, and then an
Mhm.
arrow toward this area. And
Okay.
that's essentially what it's made up of two squares, 90-degree squares, and an opposition. And that you can see they're all kind of like pointing in that direction. Although, when Chiron reaches this high of a point in the chart, it means it's even more critically important in a person's life. But the fact that you've got this here kind of balancing out the other 2 points, this Neptune and Mars and Libra here in the sixth house, there's really something very exotic and like otherworldly about this. That means that if I could share that, when it comes to like almost like we can call it your inner other, your inner masculine that is not from this world, but yet it's more of like you want to partner with spirit, you want to partner with things that are outside the material realm, and as part of your what we can call real world relationship. So you're trying to bring spirit into matter, but in a way you're still holding that space for the intangible astral plane, as like a partnership relationship, kind of, but within, not necessarily like where you're having a significant other, in the flesh and blood. This is more about your own inner other within self that
Oh,
shows up in that way.
okay.
Yeah. So it's essentially pointing for you to develop more of that relationship with spirit, with the cosmos, and to have it kind of on this equal footing, like that you have a voice, but also the cosmos has a voice too. And this is where you can take action, like with Mars, you can take action in that area. You can make it as part of your mission. Like you can almost include that in the way maybe you bring up information for people, you bring up answers for people. It's through that partnership. And that's where that triangle that you're seeing points to.
Just to make sure I understand, sounding like I need to develop my masculine voice a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That'll lead to more balance.
Right. It's like the masculine comes in through more of a cosmic front, but the masculine in sort of like its essence as like you being decisive and stepping into your own space, being able to claim it, and when you're feeling like you need to accomplish a task, that you just go for it, and it's in relationship with the cosmos in that way. That's where Mars can be very significant for you, the masculine. Mars equals masculine on a basic level.
All right, Mars. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that stands out?
Yeah, and I wanted to, Donna, did you want to share anything before
Yeah.
I continue? Because I feel like I don't want to leave you out of the conversation here.
No, that's fine. My masculine is good. I can interject.
Okay.
What I was hearing was, especially when she had asked about the channeling piece, I was hearing this blending, and it was almost because she has plenty of past life experience with all of these, as she called them, modalities, that she's just kind of reawakening them and using them at this particular time. And it's more of a blend. It's not that it's just Akashic records, or it is channeling, or it is psychic. It's like it doesn't need a label. She's very good at being able to blend them all together, so that when she does read, that whatever needs to come in from spirit, she is open to receive it, and it flows right through her. So whether she's doing an Akashic record reading and then all of a sudden she begins a channeling process, it's seamless. It's just fluid. It just flows through her. Gut chills. The other point with the masculine energy that you were speaking of, and having it kind of ground into Gaia, or Earth, as I say, it's like that, standing firmly in that masculine energy as a foundation, as your foundation in bringing this from spirit to the world. So it's not it's not blown in the wind, so to speak. It's firm. It's got a good foundation, and then that spiritual energy is really feminine, and it's nurturing, and it's holy. I mean, it's really divine. People feel that in your presence, and you can bring that down. And the important part is stabilizing that masculine energy helps to ground it here in the earth plane. I hope that helped.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. It reminded me of something I was thinking about. Well, something that came up in an Akashic record reading I was doing for myself this morning is doubt, and how it gets in the way. Because there's still, this is fairly new to me, and I haven't been able to get beyond that feeling of is this real? And I know a lot of channelers and readers feel that. And I was told that would improve, as I get a stronger foothold in what I'm doing and experience more success. I'm wondering if there's anything connected to that shows up in the chart.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Donna, also for sharing too. Yeah, some of this, there's definitely some complexities. There's two things that can sow doubt, and or we might be hard on ourselves where we don't trust what's coming through. One is Saturn. And Saturn, you can see it's not far from Neptune and Mars here. This is the planet here, the symbol. It squares your MC and IC, and really this MC and IC, what they represent in astrology is our livelihood. They represent how we're rooted into the earth, and our kind of our calling out into the world.
Okay.
And so Saturn it can be kind of a two-edged blade, if you will. One edge means it can help us do the foundational work to build something strong in our lives so that we can like have our calling in life have a good solid foundation and feel like we've built up enough of a secure thing that we're going to be okay going forward. Like it helps us focus in on that. But
Mm-hmm.
the other edge of the blade is that it can tax us, and we can become at times very critical of like whether we're actually doing this or not, because Saturn has, especially in this kind of work, Saturn has this strong hold in our third dimensional reality. So it wants things that are tangible and creating tangible results.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily only financially, but something that actually can grow organically in that way. And so when it comes to like the intangible, is we're downloading things, we're intuiting things and so forth, or accessing things, this is where it's like, oh no, that's, for in Saturn's case, there can be a great skeptical energy around that. No, that's not real. It can't be, there's nothing you can hold in your hands, and so forth and so on. You can't test it in a laboratory, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that part of the blade, or that part of Saturn, is more of the Western culture societal projection upon us. The sort of this energy of like, particularly since we got into the so-called Age of Enlightenment with the scientific revolution and all of that. It changed the way we perceive things as human society and civilization. And so since that time, we moved for quite a while. We moved pretty far away from all the subjects we've been talking about. But in recent decades, things have been opening up. Particularly, I would probably say, like since the spiritualist movement in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and things from that's like people started becoming more and more interested in stuff like this, and because it's part of what we are as humans, and it's always been around since we've been conscious thinking beings. So so what I'm saying here is that it's to if the best way to navigate that is to kind of almost like detach from that, in the sense that, oh, thank you for your input, but I've got to be able to trust this because this is the soul's direction here. But you can support Saturn's more healthy expression of like focusing on something that you really want, that is like aligned with who you are, and that you could maybe build something upon that. That's how Saturn can come in a healthy way. It's not there. It can sometimes create limits and boundaries, and we can feel like we're contracting, or or even might be like suppressing our abilities. But it's not there to really do that. It can result in that, but it's more about like helping us to track into what's important in our lives and invest time, money, and energy into who we are and what our soul is coming forward, and not just run by a fearful ego.
Mm-hmm.
Which having your midheaven here in Aquarius, you're meant to be independent, a free thinker, experimental, doing things that are ahead of its time, and when it's compared to conventional mainstream reality. So
Okay.
that's part of like the tapping in. When we get ahead of that, when we are on the leading edge of that, like I mean, I see that and Donna's seen it too, when you go and do these holistic psychic fairs across the West and other places, there's been an expansion of people coming into their abilities more strongly. And I can relate it to certain significant astrological cycles that are helping support this.
Hmm.
And I think it's only going to get bigger. And so if someone is able to have a talent, a skill, something that they can be good at in these kinds of areas, then, humanity needs them. And so this is where your abilities will come out more strongly. And you don't need to be, the psychic that everyone comes to for answers, but to be able to harness and work with your abilities in concert with the cosmos. And the cosmos being not just the physical cosmos or the energy cosmos, but all the dimensions involved in that. The multiverse, if we want to call it that. Uh, that's that's part of that relationship that you can develop. And as of course, with all the Sagittarius energy in your chart, Sun, Moon, and Venus, you're born during a new moon, Sagittarius. You're also a strong explorer and seeker, and the more that you expand your horizons and blaze new trails for yourself, the better off you're going to like thrive in your life ultimately. There's other parts of your chart that are going to help you and or share different things, but that's another area that really is strongly supported in as the chart again is a reflection of you. So like it could even include travel that would be strongly supported. It can include not just external travel to like other countries or other states, but internal travel too, travel within. Sagittarius is the explorer of both the inner and the outer realm.
Okay.
Now, the one last thing I'll share about that is Pluto's square to your sun and moon. That can bring up sometimes fears around being able to like go as far and as deep as you want. So
Hmm.
you might run into some blocks or vulnerabilities that, oh my God, no, I don't want to go there because there's a part of you that might be scared, but you can't quite identify it. It might be something in the hidden realm. But to
Okay.
know that Pluto is not there to just make you scared and run away, but it's there to help you understand that the fear is natural and to work with it consciously and to go beyond it as an ally. Into that realm, because Pluto is there to help you with, to transform things, to help you find your soul's treasures, to help you uncover that so you can, alchemize things more strongly in your life. So that's the gift of Pluto as an underworld planet. Like there's some similar threads with Chiron in that regard, but for Pluto, it can sometimes be more intense. So that's
Okay.
all I'll share with that. Does that make sense with answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Now you mentioned my sun, my moon, and you said Venus are all in Sagittarius.
That's correct.
Okay, that's interesting. One thing I do remember from the reading I had so many years ago is that he said I didn't read like a Sagittarius. He thought I was more like a Scorpio.
Yeah, that's because of the Pluto aspect. When people have a strong Pluto hard aspect, like a square or conjunction, to
Hmm.
whatever, it doesn't matter what sign that these would be in, it can make you an honorary Scorpio. Basically, it would add in, so you don't have a standard Scorpio or standard Sagittarius. You've got like the mix of Sagittarius and Scorpio in there. Think of I love coming up with this particular image. Whenever I think of Sag and Scorpio, I think of an explorer with a light or a torch of some kind, seeking knowledge. But in order to get that knowledge, they have to go into this buried temple that's unknown and it's fearful and there's shadow but there's also like ancient knowledge and things that you might be able to like and magic that might be able to like be drawn out of that. But in order to get there, you got to overcome and work with the fear to uncover those treasures. That's the image that comes from the combination of Scorpio and Sagittarius, or Pluto/Sagittarius.
Okay.
You do have a Scorpio Mercury as well. So that adds a little bit more of that additional energy that someone like as a confirmation of what that person told you too.
Okay. I've had a lot of health issues over the years. Does that show up in any way?
Yeah, it's kind of related to the things that I've shared about a bit, because when we are healers in the world, there is undoubtedly things that we have to contend with, whether it be psychological wounds, physical or energetic wounds, things that or conditions that the concept of the wounded healer, like Chiron. It's like and even in shamanism, that tends to be a thing. Like it's something like a signature for the person. Like it's like a scar that we bear, like a through as almost like a rite of passage. It doesn't mean that everyone that's a healer is like that, but in order to understand the depths of our being, sometimes, actually, a lot of times, we have to go through those deeper conditions and wounds to work with our abilities to work, and with others as well. So it does show that it can leave you more vulnerable and sensitive to things in the world, so that you end up taking on those conditions. I mean, I even myself have had a string of things in my life that has had definitely really profound impact on my perspective and the gifts that I have tapped into myself as well. Um, and it's a matter of going, okay, what is our medicine? So, you've got some powerful medicine here, and when it comes to communication and expansion in your life, powerful medicine and being able to that you need to like tap into the masculine in your life to help balance out the feminine within
Okay.
yourself. That's another thing where you can get what we call your shamanic medicine in your life. And that would help you, heal in your life, and maybe even work with that as an elixir to heal and to utilize as a strength. Just like the concept of, like a rattlesnake poison, like the elixir to that is from the snake itself as well,
Mm-hmm.
is from the very thing that can cause extreme pain and other reactions to a rattlesnake bite, for example, or even from other poisonous animals. So these are things that we can draw in and go, where's our medicine there? So in a longer reading, I could probably tap a little bit deeper into this, but you do possess the medicine within that. Some of the areas I talked about: number one, expanding yourself to the world and communicating; number two, related to your own inner masculine and being able to draw that in and to help like with your own confidence and courage to step forth and your partnership with the cosmos.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you thought was significant?
I think we've hit the really big highlights here. Your rising sign is Taurus, and so you are working on an identity that involves also, in addition to the things, this helps kind of balance out some of all the strong reality that we've talked about. Taurus ascendant is about learning how to relax, how to slow down, how to like just be in your body and be present and be comfortable. Like it's all about the comforts, the pleasures of life, the sensuality of the earth, and like treating yourself to like massages or spas or hot springs, or buying yourself flowers, or spending time in a garden, for example. These are very Tauran activities. And it would be also helpful for you to connect into that energy as part of the overall expression of your chart.
Okay. I can only think of one other question, and that is, I'm divorced and I've been on my own for more than 20 years. And does anything show up in regards to relationships, future relationships?
That's a great question. So, you're actually in a cycle right now where there is like you're in a multi-year period. You're with Uranus, and at the same time, Jupiter return. This is really one of the better times with which, that allies will show up, a potential romantic partner. There is that thing that can always come up in a Jupiter return, and when your ascendant descendant is activated during this time. And even again, this is a multi-year thing, so it's not only this year, but it'll last through I think 2027. Yeah, so there's the potential over the next few years for someone to come into your life.
Okay.
So so there's definitely some hope there
Okay.
around this. But the only caveat to that, and this is where I would there's nothing's ever kind of a perfect time, but it's definitely higher than average. Is there's a particular Chiron cycle opposite your Mars, which will end next year. That means that if I were to, let me just do a quick look at that. If I were to kind of say what would be more like the best of timings, it could be that after April of next year, it might even be better. Right now, let's say if someone comes into your life during the next 4 to 6 months, it could be that that person arrives in a way that they are looking for someone to come and heal them, and
Okay.
that you become a relationship where it's like that becomes the focus of the relationship. And that's okay, because you might learn and tap into some skills there. But if you're looking for something more conscious and equal, it may not really fully emerge until after early April of 2025.
Okay.
So that's what I'm seeing here.
Okay. Well, I thank you so
You're
much. It's been
welcome.
very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And I'm so glad to see the focus on the spiritual abilities, and sounds like the my innate abilities that I've been able to allow to come to the surface, and it being supported by the chart. So I'm really very happy with what I've heard from you.
Oh, great. Thank you, Gail. It's been fantastic and an honor to be able to do this here. And Donna, I don't know if you wanted to add anything here.
Yeah, I just want to pipe in with a couple of things. I took a couple of notes on when you were talking about her being an adventure or an explorer. I think the term you used, an explorer. And then there was the fear. And I was thinking fear, for me, when I think of fear is when pops up whenever there's something I just haven't experienced or I don't know much about. And so there's apprehension that comes along with that. And so if fear arises, just know or relate to it that it's just something that you don't know. And so there's an opportunity for you to explore that and learn more about it. And so that takes the edge off of the fear. And so you're able to kind of step into it a little bit more and explore like that is within your chart. The other thing is sometimes I've seen it in people that are coming into their own spiritual gifts that are awakening. And there comes a point when they've taken a class or they finished what they're doing and now they want to help other people, which is admirable. And so they want to set up business wise. And then that's really a very earthly thing to do, and it begins to take away from the spiritual aspect. And again, it's balancing, is keeping it, the spiritual aspect, into the business part as well too. It's important that we make a living at what we're doing. However, it shouldn't be the focus. It shouldn't maintain that focus. It really should keep with the spiritual aspect, and spirit does provide. It might not come in the form of an actual dollar bill, but it will come with whatever it is that we need. And I can attest to this 1,000 times over in my profession as a massage therapist. When things were getting a little slow, I would just kind of open myself up to, hey guys, I need some help. And I would have a new client that would come in and gift me double what my price was, because they were so appreciative and had such a good result. So
Wow.
you never know where it's going to come from. Absolutely not. But just know that you just need to let the universe know that, hey, my human self is getting a little nervous here about stuff, and they'll come through. And sometimes when our gifts become elevated more, I'll call it that, there tends to be a little bit of fearfulness. It's like a cycle. So just know again that you're just going through another cycle, and you can explore that and get through that as well too. And not to keep a label on things, because people say, I'm a Akashic record reader, and I am a channeler, I'm a medium. And it's like, what is it that you really do? What's behind all of that? Is your spiritual intent to work with people to help them through the everyday challenges that life brings to them. And they need a bigger picture. They need bigger answers to help them work through it. And when you do that, you really set yourself apart from just the Akashic record reading and the channeling or the mediumship. Then you're really working with your gifts in a bigger, bolder way. So I think that's all I had to add for that.
That's very good. I like that, what you said about fear.
Yeah. I still feel it. Not like I don't.
Yeah.
But I've recognized it and said, okay, it's just something I just don't know. And I need to look deeper into it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Gail, for lending your time and helping us to produce this podcast, and for the help for other people as well too. And so I want to let the listeners know that if they're interested in having a shamanic astrology session, they can definitely, I'm leaving Erik's information down below, and you can give them a call. And of course, you too, Gail, if you want to expand upon this a little bit more, I'm sure Erik will be available for you to give you a much more deeper and intensive reading. And this works for people, whether, you're going to start a business, or you're thinking about, you're wanting to move. Where do you move to? Start a family, relationships, money, all of that. Astrology really kind of digs in and helps it all. And I don't mind bringing in the information from spirit to kind of whitewash it a little bit and help everybody along. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Erik, thank you as always. It's a pleasure working with you and collaborating. I appreciate that.
Yeah, same here, Donna. I mean, this has been a blast, and I'm having fun, and it's been also very moving and expanding. And so I'm really grateful. And Gail, happy to be of help today and be of service. And this has been fun to really connect with you here and answer your questions. So yeah, I do have to get running here, but I really am I'm thankful for this. I'm looking forward to more. Donna, feel free to contact me. We can coordinate some dates.
Absolutely. Just love to do it. All right, everyone. If you enjoy the show, please like, share, and subscribe. That helps us with the algorithms and helps us to be able to produce more podcasts for you. All right, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.